Have you ever worked hard to achieve a goal? Have you ever spent hundreds of hours planning and toiling to accomplish something you've always wanted to do? Well, when I raised over $4,000 and spent over 300 hours working to finally complete my Eagle Scout project and earn the rank of Eagle, I knew that scouting had finally taught me something. I know I'm not the only scout in the room, so others can attest that scouting teaches skills. And that includes the skill that I'm going to teach you all today. Not only am I going to demonstrate how to properly pitch a tent, but I'm also going to show you some cool facts that'll help you out along the way. And first, you need to know the types of tents. There are A-frame tents, there are bivy stacks, there are car camping tents, and lightweight backpacking tents. And I brought today a lightweight backpacking tent. The actual one that I brought is called a quarter dome because of its shape and design. And the next thing you need to know is exactly what is contained in the tent bag. So, the first thing you have is your ground cloth or your tarp. Second, you have the actual tent material, which makes the actual tent. Third, you have what is called a rain fly. Next, you have aluminum poles. And you also have, finally, the aluminum stakes. And all these components will make up our tent. So first, just like any house that you're going to build, you need to start with a strong foundation. And since your tent is going to be your house for a couple days, or maybe one night, you're going to start with the bottom, which is your ground cloth. And some newer tents today come with what is called a footprint, and that just holds on tightly to your tent. But since those are kind of a newer development, I'm just going to start with a plain piece of cut plastic. And basically all your ground cloth is supposed to do is keep your tent from absorbing any moisture from the ground, which will be nice because you want to stay nice and dry as you sleep there. So now that we have our ground cloth rolled out, we're going to actually go next with our tent material. We're just going to roll this right out too. Like I mentioned, you can pick one of these up at like a outdoor supply store. This one here, I picked up at REI for a little over $200. And we're just going to roll it out like so. Now, on a super windy day, this might blow away on you. So if you do have the ground stakes, you might already want to go ahead and stake it down. But since we're inside today, I'm not too worried about a wind picking this up and taking it away. So next I'm going to take the stakes, or excuse me, the poles, which will actually make the framework or the skeleton of your tent. The nice thing about this tent is that these are lightweight because again this is a backpacking tent, so every ounce that you can cut off your load is definitely worth it. And in addition, these are super easy to snap together because they have a nylon cord that helps them just almost snap together for you. And another great benefit of this tent in particular is that these are color coordinated. So you'll see that some are orange, which is my favorite color, and some are silver. But the nice thing is, it allows you to know which way to set your poles. So we're just going to set them up like this. Now this next task that I'm going to do is easier if you have two people. But since I'm working alone, I will kind of teach you a trick that will help you out. Since I've already laid them out, you want to start by putting each pole in each corner grommet. And a grommet is just a metal ring that goes into the nylon. And since I'm working by myself, I'm going to put my silver one first. Again, they're color coordinated, so my silver pole is going to go in my silver grommet, like so. And since I'm working by myself, I'm going to work diagonally so I can keep the tension of the pole the entire time. This is kind of where it gets a little bit tricky. Now that I have my silver ones, I'll work my way around here. My orange pole. Place this one in. Let's see, I talked about yoga earlier, so I can get my agility in. See that one popped out? That sometimes happens. So as you can imagine, it's a little bit easier by working with another person, but I've done this a few times, so it's good. And the last thing you do, this tent actually has two additional grommets, so I'm going to put those into place. And you'll notice that this is going to start taking the form of a tent that you'll see out in the wild. in mind that this is just the skeleton portion of your tent. Something that's very key is so that you can keep your tent material as close to these poles as possible so you can have the most headroom in your tent. So with this tent, you actually have some additional clip-on clips, and they just snap on really easily. So I'm going to do those next. As I work my way around, this kind of looks like a tent you'll see, but unless you plan on staying incredibly cold throughout the evening or getting wet, you might want to put something over that will kind of shield you from that. So, our next step is going to be our rain fly. And a rain fly is exactly what it sounds like. It is a lightweight, durable, waterproof material. It's going to shield you from the elements. And most rain flies just droop over the tent. Again, this one is color coordinated, so it makes this step a little bit easier for you. So figure out how to which side it needs to go on. So my tent is no different. You just throw it over the top, and then you line up the corners. Try to have it done. So the silver grommet is going to go with the silver pole. And if you are going to experience turbulent wind that evening and you feel like you might lose your rain fly, a trick of the trade is to actually attach your rain fly before you attach the tent, so there's no way that sucker is going to come loose throughout the evening. So it's held in by the weight of your body, which is in the tent. Now, the only time that I would ever sleep without a rain fly is if I'm in a very arid environment where I plan on not expecting rain or cold temperatures. Because every once in a while it's very nice to sleep out under the stars. I really encourage people to try it just once in their lifetime. So now that we have the rain fly over the top, the next thing that we're going to do is actually stake it down. And it's kind of hard to do this with linoleum flooring, but just to kind of give you an idea, you have, again, lightweight aluminum stakes. And not only are you going to want to stake down each corner, but you're also going to want to stake down what is called the vestibule. Because as you can imagine, if this is pulled tight, you're going to have to wick a lot more moisture away from your tent. So today, not only have I taught you the different types of tents and what is contained within a tent bag, but also how to assemble it, and I've taught you a few tricks along the way. So thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
How much does your tent actually weigh?
A light backpacking tent like this one is going to be around 4 pounds.
Does it get more complicated the larger the tent is?
Typically, actually, the smaller the tent, the more complicated the tent, because it's more integral designed, and you're also dealing with much more lightweight materials. So, yeah, actually the opposite, which is kind of weird. Any other questions? Well, thank you very much.